Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to make a card using supplies from Whiff of Joy, and I'm starting with a standard European A6 card base here, and I cut my card base so that it's a top folded card. And I'm going to use one of the pattern papers from this Whiff of Joy 6x6 paper pad, and I've been using this paper pad a lot and I still love it. And I also cut a piece of black cardstock that is slightly smaller than my card base, and I will be die cutting a heart-shaped window out of this piece and have the pattern paper in the background. And I'm using a die set called Nested Hearts, and I'm going to use one of the smaller hearts in the set. And here I have finished die cutting, and I'm using the heart that I cut out to make sure that I cut my pattern paper to the right size. And then I'm just adhering the pattern paper to the card base. And I'm setting that aside for a bit while I work on the front panel. And I have cut a small strip of white cardstock that I will use for my sentiment, and I'm also cutting two small strips of the pattern paper that I will be using behind my sentiment. But before I adhere the pattern papers to my white piece, I'm going to stamp my sentiment, and I'm using this stamp set called General Sayings. And as you can see, I haven't mounted these stamps yet, so I'm just adding some regular adhesive to the back of the stamp and temporarily adhering it to my acrylic block. And I'm also using a stamp positioner to make sure I stamp straight. And I'm stamping this in archival ink in jet black. When I was going to stamp the sentiment, I realized that I apparently had some ink on my fingers, and I managed to get black ink smudges on my white piece. And since I'm stamping on the back of a textured cardstock, I didn't have the option to use the back side either. But I used an eraser and got most of it off anyway. The rest just have to be there. I don't really mind, and I could cover it up with a white pen if I wanted to. And when the sentiment was stamped, I used my tape runner to adhere the pattern paper strips to the back, and I just cut off the excess with my scissors and adhere the sentiment piece to my panel. I then adhere the panel to my card base using foam squares, and as usual I'm using quite a lot of adhesive since I want to make sure that the piece will stay in place. And I had trouble lining it all up when the card base didn't lay flat, so I just used my scissors as an extra way to keep the card base flat while I adhere the panel. My thought when I stamped the sentiment was to use some enamel dots to the right, but I realized I didn't have any colors that matched the pattern paper and I was out of the black dots. So I just pulled out this jar with orange buttons and found a few that would work. And that was my card for today. It is a very fast and simple card, and I hope you like it. And I will be back later this week for another card and hopefully an art journal page as well. So thank you so much for watching.